unprecedented shift, Pope Francis considers blessing gay couples. So we love some Vatican drama, okay? In a groundbreaking move that could reshape the Catholic Church's approach to LGBT issues, Pope Francis has hinted at the possibility of blessing same sex unions. This development comes in response to five conservative cardinals who sought affirmation of the church's teachings on homosexuality, particularly ahead of a pivotal meeting that will be discussing the issues of LGBT Catholics. The church's historically rigid view has held marriage to be an indissoluble bond between man and woman. And in 2021, the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith even proclaimed that gay unions couldn't be blessed as, quote, God cannot bless sin. Yet in his recent letter, Pope Francis emphasized the necessity of, quote unquote, pastoral charity, suggesting a more understanding and inclusive stance. He poignantly wrote, quote, when a benediction is requested, it is expressing a request for help from God, a plea to live better, a trust in a father who can help us to live better. The Pope's evolving perspective offers hope to many in the LGBT community and their allies seeking broader acceptance and acknowledgement in the church. So this is pretty wild, and it's quite confusing because the whole idea is like God cannot bless what is objective sin. According to the catechism, like this is living in sin. So how can you bless living in sin? And basically he's trying to suggest that potentially the church could consider having some sort of blessing that makes it clear that this is not marriage and that this is not equivalent to marriage and never will be marriage, but that this is love and there needs to be like charity towards these people. It's all very strange, especially as growing up as a Catholic. I'm like, what the hell? um, but please give me your reaction. Like when you heard this, what are you
What
thinking?
are Okay, so as the Catholic Church, you have to obey the Pope, correct?
He's God's representative on earth.
Okay, so what's going to happen to the Catholic Church is that they're very, very, very anti-LGBT and would consider this an abomination. But they are Catholics. They have to accept what the Pope says. How are
Oh,
they going to?
Catholic traditionalists have been losing their minds over Pope Francis.
But they don't. What they don't get to. You're Catholic. That's your Pope. He's God's representative on earth. By definition, you're wrong. He's right.
His
But by the
like
definition,
liberalism,
I know. But
is making them rip their hair out.
you
That's
don't
quote
get to
unquote
do that.
liberalism, by the way.
But you don't get to do that. You're a Catholic. You cannot protest. Okay, if you protest, you are a Protestant. You're protesting. Okay, you cannot. You have to submit to the Pope. How you can't even show signs of complaint? Like I don't understand. Aren't you supposed to be? Isn't that what a Catholic? Be a good boy, Catholic boy, and shut up and just accept what the Pope tells you. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
That's kind of how I've always understood it, but like that's not what's been happening, especially after Pope Francis had a lot of
I mean, if the Pope
crackdowns
can,
on traditional
and
Latin
the
masses.
Pope can, the Pope can come and say, you know what, you're gay, okay, and you be like, okay, that's what you have to. You should be like, yes. The Pope can say, like, you know what, divorce your wife and go have anal sex. You should be like, yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Yes, Papa
right now, I will do
Francisco,
that.
I'm gay.
Yes, the Pope can tell you, like, you know what? Bend over right now. We're gonna have gay sex, and you have to be like, yes, Papa, yes, Papa Francis. Okay, that's what that's what being a Catholic means. That's what being a Catholic means. Being a Catholic means the Pope is always right.
The live chat is killing me right now. Sandals, who's gay?
You gay? We are gay.
Yes,
We
daddy.
gay. Papa Francis.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god.
That's what always made me
Yeah.
laugh so hard is when I learned in Spanish class that they call like it's not Pope Francis, it's Papa. Like because it's also kind of funny because that's what you call like potatoes. But Papa Francisco, my papa. Um, here is one thing that I think is important to note because he's saying here's from the article. He noted that there are situations that are objectively quote not morally acceptable. But he said that the same pastoral charity requires that people be treated as sinners who may not fully be at fault for their situations. Francis added that there is no need for diocese or bishop conferences to turn pastoral charity into fixed norms or protocols, saying the issue could be dealt with on a case by case basis, quote, because the life of the church runs on channels beyond norms. And it's a long story about why this statement came out, but basically these 5 conservative clerics confronted him with a letter basically being like, we want you to affirm the church's stances on these certain issues. Give us a yes or no. And they found his answers to be so unsatisfactory that they rephrased the questions again, sent it back to him and be like, just give us yes or no. And then they ended up leaking his response.
Oh wow.
And then after the response was leaked, he like came out and made some further statements. And when they asked him for a second reply, that hasn't been published. And they made these texts public to issue a notification of warning to the faithful.
Wow.
And so this is going to be continual drama for the Catholic Church because as their congregations in the so-called Western world continue to liberalize, as we see significant evidence of in the United States, for example, the congregations in the other parts of the world where the Catholic Church is actually growing, namely being Africa and Latin America, are considerably more conservative. So the Catholic Church has to balance the opinions of its flock in the so-called Western world, which is significantly more wealthy, versus where they're actually growing in numbers, which is in the so-called global South, which again is considerably more conservative. So this is going to be a major contention. And there are some people who are like, this is like, we're heading towards a schism right now, the same way that the Anglican Church is headed towards a schism.
Yay. I'm all for it. I'm all, guys, get your
Reformation part
popcorn.
dog.
This is gonna be entertaining to watch. I can't, especially when they don't. At least these people don't kill each other, right? So we could just enjoy it.
Well, not
I mean,
anymore,
they used to.
anyways.
Not anymore. Yeah. I also want to not celebrate the Pope. By the way, can you not do that? Like, we could celebrate them submitting to our liberal ways. Okay, so this is them just surrendering. Don't go like, yay, Pope Francis. No, F this a-hole. I don't like him. He's a Pope. Okay, he's conservative. Right? This is not them. They're behind. Like, oh my God, like, oh, she's saying maybe gay couples is okay. Like, like, we don't celebrate people being behind. He's behind the rest of us, and that's not okay, right? I'm celebrating this. I'm happy that this is happening. I just don't want to give the credit to the Pope. I want to give the credit to all the liberal activists of the world who are forcing the church to surrender to our liberal world order. Okay? This is how powerful you guys are, right? You all have to submit. As Islamic institutions, this is your future. You might not know this. This is all your future. We're going to have all your mosques and all your ulama and all your religious institutions. Every single one of them at some point are going to submit to our liberal ways. Not to Allah, but to liberalism. All right? Just watch. This is you. This is you in a couple of decades.
Yeah, this is why like the LGBT religious people genuinely confuses me. Like it could never it couldn't be me. It just doesn't make sense. It seems I can't cognitively comprehend being LGBT and actually practicing organized religion. But I support LGBT Catholics, LGBT Muslims, essentially because I believe that they're going to lead to the destruction of these horrible ideologies by innovating it from within. So
Right. Exactly. Okay, so Reza is saying what?
go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait. Yeah. You
No,
know
I'm
what I'm
laughing at
thinking
this
of.
comment.
Yes.
This
So
is
Reza,
typical Armin.
yes, is saying what to celebrate then? We become depressed this way. Reza, you're not paying attention to what I'm saying. I just celebrated something for you. I'm just not celebrating the Pope. I am celebrating you want to celebrate something? Celebrate the crushing of our enemies. Okay? This is victory. We're destroying them. This is liberalism winning. I'm celebrating. Okay? Don't see the Pope as our ally. See him as the enemy who is surrendering. This is worth celebration. This is the annihilation of our ideological enemies. Okay? This is a happy moment. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do. And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.